This is a 1951 DeSoto custom two-door sedan. I always liked these toothy grille on this car, and I think it was popular with hot rodders who transplanted that grille on many a hot rod. It's a maroon paint, full wheel covers, wide white walls, and this car has a semi-automatic transmission. Notice the cover over the windshield. Pretty popular back in the day. Looks like it's been reupholstered. Yeah, this semi-automatic had basically two ranges, 4 speeds in all. A lower range, which is where second gear would be in a normal car, and a higher range, which was where high would be in a regular car. And it had a clutch, and you needed to put in the clutch to engage whichever range you were going to operate on. Now, many New York cabbies just used the high range because they stopped so often, and they really didn't need to put in the clutch. They kept it in that higher range. So that's why I think DeSotos were so popular among the taxi fleet in the large cities in stop-and-go driving. It was essentially like having an automatic transmission car. For those that wanted a lower gear starting, then they would shift it into the second gear space, and they'd have a low gear, and then they would let up on the accelerator and would click into the next higher gear, and then they would shift into the where high gear is and have 2 more speeds. Interesting adaptation of that semi-automatic. Now notice the rust here on the back bumper. It looks like the car spent some time in Louisiana, which is a kind of maritime environment depending on where you are. So rust is not an unusual occurrence on chrome surfaces. Notice the interior, it has no radio and it does have aftermarket air conditioning installed, so that makes it adaptable to driving in the summer. Interesting car, and here we have a little write-up here on the car. The first part of this is a little blurry, and the next part is a little bit better. It shows a little more of the history of DeSoto. K.T. Keller was the director of Chrysler at the time, and he was kind of an old-fashioned guy who was a machinist, and he insisted on chair-high seats so that people could sit in the car with their hats on, which was maybe practical but not very fashionable. Interesting car.